Hey guys, and welcome back. Today I want to share with you what I feel is the most underrated and underutilized exercise. It's incredible for improving your athletic performance, reducing your risk of injury, and just making you an all-round better athlete or healthier, fitter person. And that is the Nordic curl. Now, people don't do the Nordic curls for many reasons. They either feel like it's too hard to get into and they can't do a full rep, so what's the point? Or they feel like they need a ton of equipment or kit or setup to be able to do it, so it's not very user-friendly for people that don't have equipment. Neither of them are true. There is multiple ways in which we can get into the Nordic curl, which are kind of scaled options, which are incredible for increasing that strength, reducing that risk of injury, and getting us up to do a full Nordic hamstring curl, which I would say 90+% of people can't do. And if you want me to do a real true one, as I'll show you in this video, chances are I probably can't do it yet either. Now, why do I value the Nordic curl so much? Well, there's multiple reasons. One of the main reasons is anatomical, so the way your body moves. So if we look at working the hamstring has two jobs. It has flexion at the knee, which is heel towards bum, and it has extension at the hips, much like finishing off a deadlift. Now, nigh on every other hamstring exercise that people do does not involve both of these movements at once. For example, if you are seated in a hamstring curl machine, your hips are flexed and your glutes or your butt is not engaged. Even if you're doing a prone or a lying hamstring curl, the hips are still raised and often the glutes are not engaged. Now, what's magical, let's use that word, about the Nordic curl is it allows you to do both there. Now, you can have your hips fully extended, but it's extremely hard and most people can't do that. But even if you're doing a razor curl or you're doing a Nordic curl with your hips slightly flexed, the glutes are still engaged, because if they aren't, your chin will just hit the floor. So you're still working that posterior chain together. Now, the posterior chain of our body is where our power and our athletics comes from. We often say the front of our body is aesthetics, abs and all that kind of crap, and the back is athletics. It's where our power and our sprint speed really comes from. And one of the great things about Nordic curls as well is the research paper they did on soccer players, football players for us in the UK, showed a reduced risk in hamstring injuries of up to 51%. The reason it's so important when you're running is due to the mechanics of your running and kind of eccentric kind of forces that go through the hamstrings, the risk of injury is quite high there. So this is super important, and you actually see this used a lot by Premier football clubs and by NFL players. You'll often see, if you look on YouTube, NFL players doing Nordic curls, you'll see someone holding their ankles normally, and you'll see them busting out 5 or 6 reps of proper real Nordic curls, which is no joke. If you found this video helpful so far, guys, please do hit that like button. It helps YouTube pick up our video, it throws it into the algorithm, and we can help more people that way. So how can we do these Nordic curls? How can I make them accessible to you? Now, there's multiple ways you can do these. First off, you can do them by going less range. You can get yourself into one of the positions that we'll talk about, and you can just go not as far down towards the ground. That's fine, that's cool, but I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm a bigger fan of using like a resistance band around your chest, as you'll see here, because that allows us to get full range of motion and allows us to build strength through that full range of motion rather than just building strength in a partial range that we can do. Now, you can do it by setting yourself under a barbell. I've got my barbell up on my squat rack rig with the clips on the lowest position, but you can actually just put a barbell on the floor, load enough plates on it, probably 100+ kilos to counterbalance you, and then put some plates in front of them so it can't roll towards you or behind. That's a really great way. Make sure you have a cushion or something on your knees, because you will absolutely need it. You can also do this using a GHD or glute ham developer machine. Often in CrossFit we use these for sit-ups, but actually if you ask me, they're really designed for glute ham raises. Now, these can be made easier or tougher on these. If you look how I'm doing it in this video here, my knees are actually slightly in front of the pad. As I start to go down and come back up again, you'll see my knees will drop down. It makes it a little bit easier for me to do it. If I was to set my knees up on top and be what is probably a true glute ham raise, I don't think I'm gonna get back up again, not without a resistance band's help anyway. But again, that's a really cool kind of tangible thing to progress onto and really show that development in yourself. Okay, so what if you don't have a resistance band, you don't have a barbell, any of that kind of stuff? Awesome. You can grab a friend to hold your ankles. If you are considerably heavier than your friends, you might find that they just put their body weight on the back of your calves and kind of almost sit on you without crushing your ankles. Or you could wedge your feet under a bed or something along those lines. If you don't have resistance bands, that is not a problem. You can do the eccentric movement. Basically, you're gonna lower yourself to the floor as slowly as you can, and then either stop at the bottom, walk yourself back, and fall back down again, or you can get to the bottom, do an explosive push up and push yourself back up to the top, and then just use the hamstrings. The trick there is to only put as much force in the push up as you actually need. You want to get to that point where you're like, I'm not sure that I'm going to make it up again, and your hamstrings really do the work to get you back up again. So I really feel everybody can do the Nordic curl in some way, shape or form. I think it's incredibly important, or especially important for those that are doing athletic movements, especially things that involve sprinting. It's going to be incredibly beneficial to deadlifts, to heavy squats, and it's something that I feel most of us are missing out on. And what I often find is when I get my friends to do it with me, they do the first rep and they instantly get cramp. Often that's because they haven't done the movement before and they haven't got the prerequisite strength. Also, one thing to note, if you point your toes down, what we call plantar flex, so your laces are towards the floor, because the calves shoot up and they contract, often you might find that ends up giving you cramps. So ideally, you want to have like you're in a sprint position, so your toes curled over and the balls of your feet on the floor. That's gonna kind of lengthen the calf out and hopefully stop you getting cramps so much. The only time that might not be applicable is if you are putting your feet under a sofa or something that has low clearance, because naturally you can't get your whole foot under that height. So I hope this video has been helpful for you guys. I really value the Nordic curls and I think that everyone can do them. If you've enjoyed this video, or you have some questions, or there's an exercise that you would like me to break down further, I am happy to do that. Just leave a comment below and I will get back to you either in a comment or in a video form if I feel there's a bit more that we can talk about in that video. Once again, I hope you enjoyed it. Please do hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.